We've already got a question in the Q&A box from Jason. To the other 30 or so of you that are here, pop your questions in the Q&A box. Anything about mini workshops, if you're trying to pick the right topic, if you're trying to figure out tech, if you're trying to think about when you should launch yours, if you're trying to think about how to upgrade people, if you've tried a mini workshop before and got stuck at some part of the process and want support, we're here to help, okay?
There you go.
All right, so let's answer some mini workshop questions. We want to help you get your workshops launched. We want to help you keep it simple and keep it light and create workshops that serve your business as a whole. Because this is not just about creating workshops, it's about creating workshops that ultimately bring you clients, give you freedom, bring in some cash flow, all of that good stuff. All right, let's
Jason's first
start
question.
with this. Jason's first question is, I don't know, I teach confidence building skills, and it's something that takes years to master, just like martial arts. And it applies to so many areas like getting ahead in your career, dealing with difficult family members, improving low self-worth, and dating. Where would you start with creating a mini workshop with a skill that's so generalized?
You just answered your own question.
You gave us a million ideas right there. And I think part of it, Jason, is not getting overly attached to the idea of a signature workshop.
Yeah.
Um, Signature workshops work really well if you have a back end offer that's hyper focused on a specific scenario, a specific outcome, or a specific path. So if you help people with something very targeted and niche, like you help restaurant owners build websites, that's a very focused back end offer. It's for a very specific person. It solves a very specific problem, and the deliverables are probably very productized. They're very similar for every single person that you work with.
Yeah.
You can probably have a signature workshop that's just about one thing, like how to get more foot traffic with a simple one-page website could be your workshop. And then your offer is literally, I'll go help you build it. If you have chosen to have a back-end offer that is more variable, so Jason, if you do say like one-on-one coaching, where you help people build confidence with their unique situation in life, versus having a more productized confidence offer, like you specifically help people with dating, or you specifically help people with job interviews, or you specifically help. I'm thinking of a woman I know who helps like postpartum women with body image. So she's a confidence coach, but she has chosen to focus on a very specific niche, a very specific person. So she could probably get away with doing a signature workshop. For you, if you don't want to niche down, you just don't have to plan a signature workshop. If you like helping a variety of people with a variety of different types of offers, different types of skill building in the arena of confidence, do a workshop on, getting ready for a first date, then do a workshop on setting boundaries with family members, then do a workshop on, making big life changes and not worrying what people think, then do a workshop on uh, being a stronger leader in the workplace, then do a workshop on negotiation skills, then do a workshop on like turning the mean voice in your head into a kinder voice. And you're going to bring in different clients through those different ways. And this is not, if anyone's listening, this has nothing to do with Jason being in a lifestyle niche or a B2C niche. This is the exact same problem as someone who's a full stack marketer. I'm thinking of multiple clients of ours who are full stack marketers saying, well, where can I start with workshops? Because I work with companies that have 100 employees. I work with solopreneurs. I build websites. I help people with SEO. I run ad campaigns. I help local businesses. I help online businesses. I help SaaS companies. It's the same exact thing. That's fine. If you've chosen not to niche down, that's fine. It means you can't rely on one signature workshop. Every workshop is going to have to be specific. Um, if you're a marketer that has niched down and you say, I help this type of person with this problem through this solution, then it's going to be easy to come up with a signature workshop. But there's nothing wrong with doing multiple workshops. Keep them light. Do something live. Jason, for you, you may not even need slides. I'm not sure exactly what your work looks like, but you may guide people through a few exercises. You may tell some stories. You may do some hot seat coaching. You might give them like a journaling prompt. So you might be able to do these workshops that you sell through a checkout page and a series of just invitations.
Yeah.
You deliver them just by showing up and being in your zone of genius, teaching whatever your method is. And then you invite people to book a sales call with you and become a one-on-one client. Like that might be your flow. And instead of doing the work of, okay, I need to refine a signature offer that has all of these bonuses, that has a long sales page that I ultimately run ads to, and I turn it into this signature scaled workshop, you might grow differently and grow more like horizontally.
Yeah. There's a couple things here. One, in Mini Workshop Magic, we talk about the idea of hosting regular short live paid workshops. So the regular side allows you to diversify and have different entry points into your kind of deeper work, meeting people where they're at with that front end workshop. And the other thing that the four proven workshop types, the 4 Ps we went over in Mini Workshop Magic, the practice, right? Your various scenarios allows you to have like, here's a scenario around confidence building. Here's a scenario around whatever it is you help people with. And so you can be literally guiding people through the exact same process of how to deal with that scenario, but like what the scenario is why people are entering your world. Oh, I'm applying for new jobs. Oh, I'm trying to get a raise. Oh, I'm trying to move up in my company. Oh, I'm trying to X, Y, and Z. But like the idea is the scenario is different for each of the workshops. How you walk people through it could literally be your methodology, the same thing, but someone comes to a different workshop because the scenario matches with what they're experiencing right now.
Yeah, nailed it. Okay, Lynn says, what's the best simple set of tools for a workshop? Well, Lynn, you mentioned you have ConvertKit. And I know ConvertKit can host landing pages. So you need some page to send people to. If people you talk to in real life, people on social media, people on your email list are interested in the workshop, you need a link to give them. So that can be like for you, it can just be a really simple landing page on ConvertKit. For anyone else, it could be the page software that you use in your business. It could be something like Gumroad. We do a Kajabi checkout page because we use Kajabi. It could be a Teachable checkout page. It could be a ClickFunnels checkout page. It could be a Thrivecart checkout page. Kim, I believe you can accept payments through ConvertKit's page because I
Yeah.
know you can buy digital products. So that would be the simplest thing is to just accept payments through ConvertKit. So you'd hook up ConvertKit to a payment processor like Stripe. Um, if you are like, I've never accepted $1 online, where do I start with accepting payments? Like, what's a Stripe account? What's an online payment processor? Then something like PayPal might be easier. So you could set up a PayPal link. Personally, I think the softwares these days make it so easy to accept payments, and I prefer to do a checkout page that can accept payments right on that page versus sending people to like an opt-in page and then sending them to like a PayPal link.
Yeah.
I would rather accept payment through a ConvertKit page, through a Gumroad page, through a Kajabi page, so through a Thrivecart page, and do it that way. Gumroad is very
Yeah.
easy.
So easy.
Um,
Low
Tiara,
risk
you in the
too, because they
yeah.
only take a percentage of sales. There's no upfront cost. Stan store is the same, STAN, in that it's super easy to get going. It is a monthly charge. They don't take a percentage of sales any more than processing fees. Still low cost and really easy to use. So
Yeah. There's so
we
many
used to have an
options now.
excuse, years
Mhm.
ago. We'd be like, oh, tech. It's like at this point, right now, that's not really an excuse. There's lots of simple tools we can use.
Totally. And
And
then you
in
need a way to deliver like a confirmation message or communicate with them once they've signed up. So once they signed up, you need to know that they've signed up, have their email address. You can ideally send an automated confirmation email. Again, all of these platforms typically make that really simple. Some of them just do it automatically. Like you buy something, you automatically get, a receipt. Um, Most of these platforms, you can customize that confirmation email. So you can also include the Zoom link for your workshop. You can include the like the date of the workshop. So when people are like, they've signed up a few days ago and they're like, wait, when is the workshop? They can go back to that confirmation email, see the name, see the title of the workshop, see the date that it's happening, see the time and the time zone that it's happening, and the Zoom link to access it. So that's ideal.
yeah.
And then you just need, a meeting software to host it. So Zoom is going to be the best option for 99% of people. But of course, there are other uh, meeting software. So if you use a different meeting software, that's fine. Just make sure you're aware of those settings and how to get a good recording. And then afterwards, you just need a way to deliver the replay. So the simplest thing would be, give people either upload it to YouTube and have it as an unlisted YouTube video. So if you already have a YouTube account, that's very easy and you can send people that link. If you already have a Google Drive account, you can upload it to Google Drive and send people that link. If you already have a Dropbox account, you can upload it to Dropbox and send people a replay that way. But that's like the lowest tech way to do it,
Yeah.
technically. Again, many of these platforms, Gumroad, Stan, Kajabi, ClickFunnels, have really simple built-in course portals where you can upload the replay and then people can log in and access it there. It's a little bit cleaner, and that would be a simple place that they can access any bonus resources as well. But literally, when I started doing workshops, I would write the information about the workshop on a Google Doc. At the bottom, there'd be a PayPal link. They would get a confirmation email from PayPal, but it wouldn't be customized. It would just be a receipt. I'd manually email them the Zoom link, the date, and the time, and then I would give them the replay via Google Drive. So that was like 2016, and I was bad at tech. Now I feel like there's easier ways to do it, but technically you can still do it that way if you want to keep it really low tech and like free to host. Kim says, my backend offer is a cohort-based course for therapists launching printable digital products. My previous mini workshops ended up being not so many and covered the entire project of creating a product or launching a product. Can you help me come up with a mini workshop topic? That's usually the
So
thing, right? Is we have so much we want to share that it ends up becoming this huge thing. Kim, one thing I would encourage you with is you may just be trying to give them too much support within the mini workshop. So you may actually be able to cover like, here's how to create a digital product. Like, here's how you like brainstorm what your product can be. Here's the tools you're going to use to set it up. Here's a few examples of ones that I have done. And here's how you can start selling it. Now, if you want more support, if you want all of the tech tutorials, if you want me to hold your hand through it, if you want me to figure out, if you want me to give you ideas for the deliverables, you can join my course. So you may just be trying to cram too much support into your mini workshop, and you could actually cover the basics of that inside a workshop format. Because I think that's actually kind of similar to like mini workshop magic. Um, Now, that being said, you could shrink it down to just like come up with a product idea.
I
Just
was
like,
thinking,
hey,
yeah, pillar plan. So a pillar
mhm,
could be best-selling digital products for therapists. We'll just help come up with a product idea by the end of the workshop. We're not going to
yeah,
build it. We're not going to sell it. We're not going to promote it. We're just going to come up with the idea based on your unique story and how you help people in the world.
yep,
You could have a plan, which is literally just here's the plan for creating a digital product. So I'll walk you through the steps. We're not going to do it together, but here are the steps involved in creating a digital product
yeah,
specifically for therapists.
hmm
And so to me, it's like the 4 Ps, proven workshop types that we went through in Mini Workshop Magic is like, it's literally just go through that process and really whittle it down to just like, what can I help someone with in 60 to 90 minutes? And if it's beyond that, can I go and break it up into one of these 4 Ps or even just a section of that? And that's a compelling enough offer.
Yeah, totally. The other idea that I have, it just kind of depends on the method that you teach, would be um, doing kind of an unscalable version of it. So maybe the first step is, hey, take a resource you've already created for your clients. And ultimately, like in your course, you help them upload it to Etsy or create a shop and start selling them. But maybe just to kind of prove the concept during this workshop, you just have them like text 10 of their past clients or post on social media and say, hey, I have this resource I've shared with clients before. Would it be helpful for anyone? And maybe they don't even sell it, but they just send it to those 10 people. And it's just kind of proof of concept to them of, oh, the only way to help people isn't just by being in a client setting.
Yeah. Cool.
But again, that kind of depends on your model and your method and what like what resources these therapists have access to at the time.
Cool.
Okay. Anonymous says, my Instagram and website are all about confidence issues and performance anxiety in musicians. If I wanted to create a mini workshop on the same topic for public speakers, could I still use these accounts? Or would I need to broaden my niche? Would it be confusing for my potential clients? Thank you so much for taking the time and guiding me with this weirdly specific issue. Well, I think it's amazing that we've got several like confidence and personal growth focused folks here. Um, you can, we always recommend if you are launching a workshop, you can leverage the audience that you have. Like Justin, I'm thinking of Twist, who's a business coach and a marketing expert and a speaker primarily, but one summer for fun wanted to run a tie-dye workshop.
Yeah.
And so talked about it on social media because it was something, you know, she wanted to do for fun as a creative outlet. And that's fine. A one-off workshop launch where she's telling stories about tie-dye and saying, hey, if anyone wants to do this for fun, like sign up, is great. If she was wanting to build a business around tie-dye, she ultimately would need to create an audience for that, a standalone audience for that somewhere.
Yeah.
If she kept talking about it on her business platforms, business people are probably going to unsubscribe. They're like, yeah, I kind of came for the social media help, not so much for the tie-dye. So I'm going to kind of mute you or unfriend you or unfollow you. And if she wouldn't be adding to her audience, there'd be no one interested in tie-dye. She'd have to like somehow make it clear, I'm a tie-dye person now, follow me because of tie-dye. And she'd probably change her bio and change her profile photo to be in a tie-dye shirt. So you kind of have to think about it from a long-term perspective. Like doing a fun one-off workshop, supporting people with speaking is great. But where do you see this? Like, what's the purpose of this? Is it because you want to pivot niches? Is it because you have a back end offer for speakers now? Is it because you're done with the music industry? Like, if there's some type of bigger shift happening, I would say, yeah, you can leverage your existing accounts because you have somewhat of an audience there. Bring people along who want to, tell them the story of this pivot. Great. If it's a one-time thing that you're going to be talking about for a couple days, yeah, sure, post about it. And then you can go back to music content. But if you on social media are talking about just random, unrelated topics and launching workshops and making offers about those topics, and there's no through line, and like this month you're talking about public speaking, and next month you're talking about, you know, something totally different, and there isn't a core through line, you're just going to end up with no one who wants to pay attention.
Yeah.
Um, the people I've seen be most successful teaching a variety of topics. I'm thinking of a woman I follow on Instagram who has, in the last couple years, done front end and back end offers around transitioning to eating meat after being vegan for several years. So she did like a training and then a community on that. She's talked about crypto. She's talked about earning travel points. She's talked about parenting. So those are very diverse things. Her through line, though, is she's very much a personal brand, started as a personal brand. So she shares a lot of her everyday life, a lot of her personal stories, talks a lot about like her passions. She puts a lot into audience building and into building a very personal connection just around her identity. And I think everything she does kind of falls under the banner of being like an expressed, freedom loving woman. And so then she talks about like, hey, if you want to be a financially free woman, here's the stuff on crypto. If you want to be a healthy woman, here's what I'm experimenting with my health. If you want to be a parent that also feels really like you have your own identity, I'm going to bring in this expert to talk about that and buy this workshop. But she's a personal brand first. So she's not like, it doesn't feel as jumpy. I
Okay,
know this is a
I
lot.
have something. I put in the chat. Slay the stage. To me, it's the same thing. You're helping people with music confidence and people with speaking confidence. You can end up on your site and you're like, are you a musician looking to be more confident on stage? Or are you a public speaker looking for more confidence on stage?
Beautiful.
I don't know why, but to me, it's the same. It's the same offer. It's presented differently. Now, you may need different. So, as everything Sarah shared is 100% relevant, but to me, it's like you absolutely have credibility already amassed through your musician, helping musicians. So I would not like lose that because even if you are starting an audience from zero around public speaking, you have years of helping musicians do the same thing. So, anyways,
Beautiful.
I'm a nerd. I like Slay the Stage. I Googled
I
it.
like
It
that a
may
lot.
not be available, but there you go.
To play around with the wording. That's a great
Yeah.
example. And that's a great example of creating a through line
Yeah.
between two different offers. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay. Brian says, I made a course last year on a different platform and I'd like to change it into a mini workshop. It's a course for business owners on how to close sales. Is this a useful and good niche? Yes, it's a useful and good niche. People pay tons of money to be better at closing.
Yeah.
Uh, my husband is in that field and has invested on all different levels. Um, and I think a mini workshop is a great entry point if you're selling sales coaching or a sales coaching membership or a sales course, anything like that. Um, the caution, Brian, that we always give people when they're like, hey, I made a course, now I want to turn it into a mini workshop. The risk is that you take this big, broad promise of like, I'm going to teach you everything about sales. I'm going to teach you my sales method. And by trying to cram it into a 1 or 2 hour format, number one, it loses like a lot of the nuance that it had in a course. And it's too much for people to actually get any like results with. You're like giving them a fire hose of information in a mini workshop container. And it lends itself to broad promises in the marketing because marketing a course is different than marketing a workshop. And the promise you make for a 1 or 2 hour workshop where it's like a low risk, low ticket, get a quick win investment is going to be different.
I just think of, in your case, practices. So how does sales show up? Is it objections? Is it just things that come up in the conversation? Is there a process you follow before a sales call, kind of a pre-sale game plan? Like there's all sorts of
Yeah.
ways you could break this up into, again, like that's the thing that I need. I need my show up. I need people who show up to my sales call to be ready to buy. How can I do that? I need to be better at handling these 3 common objections that happen on pretty much every single sales call, that type of thing.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, picking out something laser focused so that you can actually benefit from what the benefits of a mini workshop model is, which is helping people get a quick win, building trust, having them be like, oh my gosh, my show rate went from, 40 to 55%, or even helping them just handle one objection. Like, hey, here's how
Mm.
you handle the spousal objection. That you could absolutely crush in a 45-minute workshop. And then why wouldn't they want your whole course on handling the top 15 most common objections?
Yeah.
Mini
Again, it's really
workshops are
helpful to think
not
of
meant to be, here's everything I know in
yeah.
an hour.
Just think it's really helpful to think of a workshop as like an entry point to your bigger work. So where uh like what how can I show someone um how can I help someone build a quick win? How can I help them build momentum? How can I show them who I'm about and who can I can help? But not how can I cram my years or decades of expertise into a 60-minute training? Because that doesn't do anyone any good.
Okay, Katana says, I'm still struggling with what could be my main mini workshop, being that the main offer is a personal growth mastermind where we focus on a different area of life each month. Can you provide any ideas on what could be the main recurring mini workshop so I don't have to do one for each topic we discuss in the main program? Thanks, Sarah and Justin. Okay. So I think to some degree, everything we shared when we answered Jason's question applied, where if you have a big, broad topic, it's going to be easier to sell a workshop and upgrade people if you choose micro topics. Now, is that the only way? No. You could try to create a signature workshop. It's just going to be a little bit harder to sell because it's going to feel a little bit more generic. And like, I try to be really straightforward and down to earth when it comes to messaging and offers. I don't I like to be realistic of what I actually see. And I see business as a series of decisions. Um, if you have made the decision to have a broader offer, that comes with pros and cons. Some of the pros are you can help more people. Some of the pros are you get to weave in more of your passions from different areas of your life. Some of the pros are you have a bigger possible target market. You aren't just serving, you know, teenage girls, you're serving anyone who wants to grow personally. So there's pros that come with dealing with a broader offer. There are also cons. If you choose to have an offer where you deal with all areas of life and personal growth as a whole, it means it's a little bit harder to make specific promises, and that affects every level of your marketing
Yeah.
and every level of your content. It's harder. And that's okay. We all make choices like that in business that come along with pros and cons. So if you want to create a signature workshop, like if that's your boundary, I only want one signature workshop, isn't necessarily what I'd recommend. I would recommend you do a variety so people have different entry points based on things that are most present in their life, because those will be different for different people. But if you do really want to choose one, you need to tie it to your story and your unique method, because that's going to be the uniting factor of why people are going to be drawn into your membership ultimately. So if you're like, I'm going to help people grow as a whole, you need a powerful origin story for yourself of, hey, here are all the things I've overcome in my life. And those are going to need to be really present in your front facing content. I don't know your story, Katana, but so I'm just speaking in complete hypotheticals, but it could be like, here's how I overcame an eating disorder. It could be, here's how I went from being, estranged from my parents to having a really close relationship with them. It could be, here's how I have grown in faith through these different obstacles I faced in my life. It could be, here's how I used to stress about money and now I don't stress about money. I used to be a really big people pleaser and now I'm not. So you have all of these stories and then you condense them, and your workshop is about your method or like your modality. So it's like, hey, here's how it could be like a dissolving limiting beliefs workshop. It could be a um habit stacking workshop. Like, what's the core method that you could bring to every area of your life? So, yes, you help people with all of these diverse things, but maybe it all comes back to a meditation and prayer practice about whatever's going on in your life. Maybe it all comes back to um, having hard conversations. Maybe it all comes back to how you start your day. Maybe it all comes back to a journaling ritual. Okay, so you said fear to faith. That's what you'd have to condense it around. And then you'd in your marketing, on your sales page for your workshop, as you're talking about it, you'd want to be giving diverse examples. You would not want to be talking generally about fear to faith. You'd be talking about how fear to faith in different specific areas of life, fear to faith with health issues, fear to faith with relationships, fear to faith when it comes to finances, fear to faith with your career, fear to faith with becoming a parent. And so you'd want to be intentionally collecting stories and testimonials as you deliver this workshop multiple times or as multiple people buy this workshop to speak to all of those. I hope that's helpful. And for anyone watching, I hope it's helpful to kind of see some different ways to approach a workshop if you do have like a bigger business focus. Okay. Susan says, I run a small membership group that inspires creativity with monthly flower painting challenges and creative prompts. I'm planning to offer multiple creative workshops, but no idea which workshops to offer. I'd love your input. Susan, I think the simplest thing might be to do what you're already doing inside your membership. So if you are doing a flower painting challenge, maybe like day one of that challenge, you turn into a live workshop that the public can buy tickets to. So it's like a flower, like paint a flower in an hour and you sell tickets to it. And in an hour, you kind of talk, you maybe start with a little creativity riff. You talk about how you make time in your life to paint every day. You guide people through painting their flower. Um, you have maybe some type of creativity, like sharing time. And then you talk about how, like, hey, this is what I do in my membership all throughout the month. We're actually doing a flower painting challenge this month. So if you want to keep doing this in your own life and like sharing in this community, join us for the ride. And like we'd love to have you inside and you make an invitation into your membership. And then all of your members get to come to this call as well for free because they're members. And so it's kind of for them, it's like a kickoff call for the challenge. And for the public, it's a workshop that they can buy a ticket to. But then you're not creating extra work. So you're already doing lots of stuff in your membership every month. Is like, I would just ask yourself, is there like a little thing that I can pull out each month and do that as my workshop instead of having it have to be some different thing than what I'm already doing in my membership? That's how I would approach it. Tanya says, do you offer alternatives to the standard mini workshop followed by a signature workshop or larger scale course? For example, could you provide a series of mini workshops or allow participants to purchase individual modules from a larger course, similar to buying a single song or a full album on iTunes? I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences with these different options. So, Tanya, we definitely have people who teach like multiple workshops or have built a library of workshops. And at times in our business, we have had many more front end low ticket offers, mini workshops and templates and trainings and kind of mini courses. What we found was the biggest drawback was the math didn't work for our audience size. So we found that we would need to make a massive volume of low ticket sales to hit our income goal. every single month and pay ourselves what we want to make. And so we were putting tons of energy into creating and maintaining this library of front end offers. That's what most of our day was focused on. It's like, oh, we have to update that template, or oh, this checkout page isn't converting, so we need to update that, and like managing the tech and customer service and all of that. But there weren't enough sales adding up for us to make the money that we wanted to make. And so if you are someone that has 100,000 followers, if you have 50,000 people on an email list, if you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube or 500,000 followers on TikTok, you can absolutely get away with like a low ticket front end library model because the scale works. If you're like us and you have 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 people in your total combined audience, it's unlikely that you will be able to make enough low ticket sales for the business to work out. And managing a front end library of tons of different products into a back end offer, and so you have multiple upgrade paths and people who have different resources, for us felt super complicated. And so when we realized, no, we still need a mid ticket or a high ticket to make our business math work, we realized everything would feel a lot simpler if we only had 1 or 2 front end workshops available for sale at a given time. So we still do multiple live workshops throughout the year, but we don't productize them. So they don't go into a library, they don't go into a shop. We don't build a funnel around them with bumps and upsells and an upgrade path, because that stuff is the stuff that takes time. We don't build a full sales page for them. We just launch them live, host them, keep them really simple. It's usually like fewer slides, way fewer resources, very, very simple. And then there's urgency for people to come because it's a one-time live thing. We do it live, it's awesome, and then it's over. And Mini Workshop Magic is our only one that's available front end 24/7. So that's our only one that's been fully productized, where it has all the architecture around it for it to be an automated thing that works. So that's like the caution when it comes to this model. There are business types, unique situations where the library model makes a little bit more sense. I've used this example before. I know someone who is an astrologer. Her main business is doing one-on-one astrology readings. So you pay, $400 to book an hour with her. And so she has a front-end library of workshops because different people have different things in their charts. So she has, for example, a workshop for each sun sign, because everyone in her audience has a different sun sign. So it makes sense for her to have 12 workshops that all very seamlessly lead into her readings. It's not a complicated upgrade path. I don't think that model makes sense for most niches, but I do think, like in her case, it's a no-brainer. Like it's a total no-brainer. People buy the one that makes sense for their situation and then want to book a reading with her. Um, if if you are wanting to go the shop model or whatever, there's people who teach it and love it. For us, it feels really complicated. We do not prefer it. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it can't work, but for the simple, lean business that we want to build, we prefer 1, maybe 2 evergreen workshops that are like available on your website that you're known for, that people can buy all the time. And if you're wanting to do other workshops as like different entry points, we've talked about that with multiple people on this call, don't try to productize all of
Yeah.
them where you're
And go
building a
back to
whole
your
funnel
goals.
around
Choose
them.
one of the goals. Like if it's just
Yeah,
cash flow, let it be light. If
totally.
it's upgrade, then let it be an upgrade thing. But like you're not trying to turn it into beautiful sales page, crazy like crazy
Resources.
upgrades. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. Randy, I'm so glad this is helpful. This has been a fun Q&A so far. Susanna says, what are your go-to tools if I can't get signups for the workshop, even though it was validated? Okay, so you post your iTap or you talk about the topic, people raise their hand, and then when you actually announce it, you can't, like, people aren't signing up. Like, no one's buying. You're not selling tickets. Number one tool to avoid this is early bird deadline.
Yeah.
That helps you see quickly in your launch what's really going on. If you don't have an early bird price, it introduces a bit of complexity because sometimes people are just waiting for the deadline. So there's actually no way for you to know
Yeah.
if your message is landing or not, if people are wanting to buy the workshop or not, because you might just have a bunch of deadline chasers in your audience who are like, oh, awesome, Susanna's doing this workshop. Cool. I'm going to buy a ticket. But they just keep kicking the can down the road. They're putting it off. Having an early bird deadline where it's like, hey, for the first 3 days, it's 50% off or it's 25% off. That's nice because it'll move people. And so that way you find out in 3 days, is it just a deadline thing? And as soon as the deadline hits, everyone's buying their early bird ticket, or is there a deeper issue?
Yeah.
Second thing we look at, is it congruent? So the thing we talked about on the iTap, sometimes what happens is you say, I'm thinking about running a workshop on X, Y, and Z. It'll be this much money. Are you interested? And then you get into big brain entrepreneur mode, you're whiteboarding, you're planning, and your workshop moves kind of like 3, 4, 5 steps away from what the original iTap implied. And so your checkout page and everything is a little bit incongruent. And so people are like, oh, actually, I'm not super interested in this. This is different.
Yep.
Another thing we look at is a little reality check. How many offers have I made? Have I personally messaged everyone that commented on the iTap or engaged with that like pre-sale content? Have I talked about the workshop multiple times, mentioned that it's coming up, mentioned that it's live, talked about the results that people will get, talk about who it's for? Have I given multiple reminders? So sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes it's an audience size thing where it's like, oh, I got 5 comments. Yay, that's amazing. It's normal that not every single person on the I'm Thinking Boat converts. So is it just like that there's not enough other people who've seen the offer yet? That can be an element. Yeah, those are the main things we look at. If we validated something originally and then sales are non-existent or slow at the beginning of the actual promo. Anything you would add, Justin?
Just make sure it was validated with a price in it. Because what can happen is if you validate a topic, people are interested in it, and the price that they didn't know it was a paid thing, then what you've identified is a bunch of people who want that, but aren't the types of people who will buy something around that topic. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But
That's a great point. I just RSVP'd for a workshop that's free. I commented on their hand raising post. It's a free workshop, so it's not a mini workshop. I commented on their hand raising post. And then they messaged me the details and I signed up for it. I wouldn't have if it turned out to be paid because it's really something I'm just curious about. I'm actually looking at it for someone else in my life. I'm curious about what this person's teaching. And if they had messaged me back and it was paid, I just wouldn't have signed up because I'm not invested enough. And I'm not actually even their ideal buyer. I'm curious about it for these people in my life.
Yeah.
So again, their workshop is actually free, but in this example, if they had secretly been planning for it to be paid and they put it out and I raised my hand and then it was paid, I would have been like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do this, but all good. Okay. Lynn says, you mentioned not putting your workshop link in a social post except in a picture. Could you talk more about that? Okay, so Lynn, the issue is every social media platform wants their users to spend as much time as possible on the social media platform. So across the board, they do not like you linking externally. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. If you're sending people to a checkout page, it means they're leaving Facebook, and Facebook makes more money the longer people stay on Facebook. So they don't actually want people leaving Facebook. They want people staying on Facebook. So if I put a link in my comments, if I put a link in a post, Facebook just isn't going to show it to as many people. These platforms also don't want you to spam people because there are actual spammers causing actually tons of problems by sending like spammy links to people. So their filters, if you're copying and pasting and sending the same link to 20 people on your friends list, they're going to shut you down because you're behaving like a spammer. So we avoid links as much as possible on all social media platforms. If we're launching a workshop, we put it in our bio, we put it in our cover photo so that if anyone navigates to our profile, it's easy for them to find right away. In our posts, we'll tell people, go to the link in the bio or shoot me a message. And if we're messaging people who've expressed interest, we either say the link is in my bio if you want to sign up, or we send a photo of the link. So we like write it on an index card or a note, make it kind of cute and send like a little selfie with the note, and they can type it in themselves. And it's just how we avoid getting shut down or limited reach from social media. Only exception is towards the end of a launch, like if it's the early bird deadline or the day before the cart closes and we post like a final reminder, we'll give it a couple hours and then we'll add the link in the comments so that like if someone sees that link later when we're not online, they still have a chance to find it. But that's the whole link shenanigans.
Once you get once Facebook picks up on you, it also, I'm pretty sure they throttle your reach. So
Justin's been throttled.
I get in trouble all the time. And genuinely, I'm just being helpful. Like there was one time where I was sending people like a resource, and but it was a Google link, and after like 3 people, it was like unable to send, and I was like, "Are you kidding, Facebook?" And yeah, they just wouldn't send it.
Yep. Okay. Uh, Carolyn says, do you think a mini workshop is still a good idea if your core product is a workshop? Carolyn, I think this depends on the price point and the structure of your core product. So your core workshop, is that like a more expensive workshop or a more like intensive workshop where someone's spending like all day with you? Maybe it's a 1 day workshop, maybe it's $500. Or is your core product like your main thing, a $20 1 hour workshop? Because I think my answer is a little bit different depending on the price point. Um, if your core product is literally just like a low ticket workshop already, then there's not necessarily a difference. We call them mini workshops because it's a way for us to differentiate our unique paid workshop method. But from like a customer standpoint, they're not going to know the difference between a $20 mini workshop and a $20 workshop that you've already been running. Like it sounds like you might already be doing a paid workshop method. And if that's working for you, and if you have enough of an audience where you can hit your income goals with a low ticket workshop being your core product, great. For us, we mostly use mini workshops in our business not as a way to pay our bills. It's not where we're making most of our money, although we've definitely had some workshop launches that have been very profitable. But for the most part, we use mini workshops to ultimately sell the thing we want to sell, which is a bigger program. And so our mini workshops are a way for them to get a result, a quick win, build trust, and be the doorway into the deeper work that we do. If that's also the case for you and you have like something you call a workshop, but it's $500 and it's half a day with you, I would actually shy away from using the term workshop in your front end offer because it's going to create confusion. They're going to
Yeah.
buy a mini workshop from you for $20, $30, $50 and then be like, wait, why is this other workshop $500? So I would call your front end workshop, if you use this strategy, like a masterclass, a training, a guide. But I wouldn't actually use the word workshop because it's going to hurt you when people upgrade to a much more expensive, deeper, bigger workshop. Okay. Uh, Kim says, I have a 5-week online course teaching horse owners who don't ride how to get their horse started on an obstacle course. Would I take a piece out of the course or do something slightly different for the workshop? Kim, we typically find that when you're designing your mini workshop, you're creating something new, although it may include elements that you also cover in your course. The reason being, typically, module 1 of any course isn't very sexy by itself. So if you pull out module 1 as it exists right now from your course, if it's like most courses, it's important to people reaching the overall goal. But those people have already made a commitment to the overall goal. They're already in this environment where they're going to go through module 1 and module 2, and it's stacking towards a long-term vision they're really excited about. If you try to market module 1, which again is often foundations, 101, overview, mindset, like whatever, it's usually just really basic and not very sexy and not very exciting. It's going to be hard to market it. So typically, your mini workshop needs a bit of a spin. Even if it does have some of the material from module 1, it typically needs a bit of a spin in terms of coming up with a fun, sexy standalone topic that will get people excited to buy it and get them excited for the quick win or the outcome that they're going to get that will prepare them to make the longer commitment to some of the not so sexy stuff. Again, you may find yourself covering some of the same material that you talk about in module 1. It's really more of like a positioning thing. Okay. Any tips on how to market your workshop without a social media presence? So I think I said this. I say this all the time. You have to have a traffic source if you're going to run a business online. It's not an optional part of an online business. It's an essential part of an online business, and your business will die without it. But social media is optional. There are other ways to get traffic. So you could run ads to an email list. So there's lots of people like doing lead magnet ads where they have a quiz or a freebie, getting people onto the email list, and then they're marketing the workshop on the email list. You could borrow other people's existing audiences. You could speak at in-person events, you could speak at online events, you could be a part of summits, you could get interviewed on podcasts, you could pursue PR. There's lots of avenues like that to take advantage of existing traffic, in media and in other people's social media platforms. Some people really pursue strategies like being a part of bundles. So getting their product in front of other people through like bundling it with other people's products. Some people like some people build an audience on YouTube. I wouldn't consider that social media. It's more of a search engine. So like YouTube or Pinterest, so more like search engine platforms that aren't relying so much on an algorithm, and there's less of like an the social media dynamic that some people don't like of like comment wars or DMs. I know social media has YouTube has comments, but it's a different dynamic than, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So yeah, those are a few options for getting traffic and building a following for your online business that isn't reliant on like having a big Instagram audience.
Again, we have no social media presence, like no Instagram, no TikTok, no YouTube, no Twitter. We've just chosen ads and borrowing audiences. Like, those are our two paths. One, we have more control over borrowing audiences. Like, we control a lot more, but it's also limited. Ads, we have less control, but it's theoretically unlimited. Like, we could keep spending more and more and more.
Yeah. I guess one that I didn't mention is JV partners. So it's kind of like borrowing audiences, but instead of getting in front of them just for the purpose of like being on a podcast interview or speaking,
Yeah.
you're partnering with people specifically to sell your workshop. So they might be an affiliate, you might be doing an affiliate launch, you might be, doing kind of like the joint venture webinar strategy in other people's communities or having them drive traffic to you in return for a kickback. I have a client whose main offer is one-on-one therapy using hypnosis and internal family systems. His offer is around healing your own internal operating system, not so much transferring skills. He gets people coming to him who struggle with drinking or smoking and want to quit, but they stay for the deeper support. He'd like to branch out and find clients who just want to do the inner work and heal, but he's not sure what kind of mini workshop to offer with a service like hypnosis. What kind of thing would you offer in a mini workshop when your service is something like hypnosis?
Me, it's a
Makes me think
practice
of
hotel.
Kelly, who she does hypnosis as her main offer and has done mini workshops for several years now and gotten many clients through them. Um, there's two things I want to talk about. Number one, he'd like to branch out and find clients who want to do that, who just want to do the inner work and heal. I don't love how that's positioned against people who struggle with drinking or smoking and want to quit. I think everyone pursues stuff in order to solve a problem. Some of the problems have more obvious labels, but um, I think when people start to say, like, I just want to work with clients who just want to grow or just want to heal, the marketing gets a lot harder um, because you're speaking to this kind of generic in the clouds thing, when for everyone, like, healing is motivated by not always something like I'm dealing with alcoholism, but it is motivated by something. And what is that something? Even if it's a positive thing of here's what I want to experience in my life. I want a life where I experience this amazing thing, this amazing outcome where I wake up feeling like this. It is important to identify that. As far as the mini workshop, like, I know Kelly did a lot of ones that kind of involved some of the NLP side of things, so like how you speak to yourself and like the power of words. Um, he may thrive doing some interactive workshops where he's doing some type of like group hypnosis or even just kind of like guiding people through things. The other thing is sometimes for services like this, educational workshops that make people feel safe to enter a modality are huge. So
Yeah, it's
being
interesting.
hypnotized takes a lot of trust. Same if you're like someone who uses psychedelics and they're like, those are things that, like, you're not just hiring someone random to do that work with you. Um, so a workshop where he just talks about like how to use hypnosis to experience these results or these outcomes, and where he just literally shares like, here's what's happening in the brain. If you want to work with someone, here's what to look for and what to avoid. Here's a few stories of what people have experienced. Like, that type of workshop where people are just experiencing, oh, this is possible. And oh, this makes me feel like you're someone that I can trust is huge. I have been to workshops like that for different modalities where the person is not performing the modality. They're just walking through their ethos, their method, a few very simple things you can do for yourself was really helpful for me. Okay. Susanna says, I want to start a new business with mini workshops. It's very niche, how to overcome the fear of needles and go to blood test with confidence and ease. I have no audience though. So, number one, how to start building the audience. And two, what mini workshop idea do you recommend for the first go? Um, Interesting. To me, you're definitely going to want a search related audience building platform because this isn't something that people are like, oh, I want community for, or oh, I just want to like follow this person aspirationally. This is something that's like, shoot, I have to take a blood test tomorrow. Needles are my biggest fear. I am getting on Google or getting on YouTube or whatever and searching, like, here is how, like, how can I get over my fear of needles?
Yeah.
So it would either be like a blog related, like SEO sort of thing, like a downloadable with like a downloadable guide, or YouTube videos about this,
Yeah.
where people can search and find this. Um, Neither of those are Neither of those are quick things, I will say. So I would also, in the meantime, although I don't think this would be like the best strategy long term, I would create a Facebook group probably that's like Needle Fear Anonymous or something. Oh, and like have a private Facebook group that people can join and maybe you go live in there and talk about it.
Yeah, I also think there's a huge thing here with kids. So
Oh, interesting.
there's an opportunity there around just needles, immunization, blood work, stuff like that.
Yep.
So there's
And
definitely people searching. I mean, I searched for that. There's people searching for that.
yeah,
um,
cool.
and obviously, there's huge groups of parents, uh, so support groups and stuff like that.
hmm Tom said, "Hi, Sarah and Justin. Thank you for this Q&A. My company is in the personal finance niche. Our flagship product is a 3-day live event where we teach people how to develop a better money mindset, how to manage their cash flow, income, expenses, and simple yet effective investment strategies. I'd like to create one or more workshops that would give value to our audience and could help us sell this event, which is held twice a year." Yeah, mini workshops are great for this, of like building a buyer's list in between live launches or live events. However, I'm struggling to find a topic for my mini workshop that's focused and specific enough, as we discussed in the training the other day. Well, Tom, you have the benefit of having done this 3-day live event before, it sounds like. So I'm curious if there is like a most popular session, a most popular topic, if there are Q&As during this event where this is like the burning question, if there's, sessions or speakers where it's like, oh, that breakout room was packed, or we got so much feedback that that was so helpful. That's one place that I would look. It doesn't mean you have to recreate that session entirely, but it may give you some input on like what are people most excited about. Um, and be kind of a data-driven way to figure out, oh yeah, that's that session on that topic. We could kind of rebuild that or reimagine it into a workshop format.
To me, it would be something about how, making your live event a no-brainer price-wise. So can you help them
Mm,
save money? Can you help them earn money? Can you help them fund the event, basically? That's not your marketing, but basically
no.
that's kind of subliminally what would be happening. We have a friend who is a CPA, and he has this concept called capture and reallocate, which is like go through your monthly subscriptions as a business owner and cancel anything that you don't actually need. Um, and what's interesting is the concept is like, okay, if it's 20 bucks a month, you're saving $240 a year, right? So now you have $240 that you can reallocate to something that's actually serving you in your life. And what's interesting is when people go through it, they end up capturing thousands of dollars, in some cases, tens of, because he's working with big companies, in some cases, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of unused subscriptions that they can now reallocate, which obviously makes his CPA firm kind of a no-brainer. If that's like one of the things that they can help you do, it's now you have all this money. How do you reallocate it effectively? And so in your case, you've got this 3-day event. It's about money. What's a practice? What's a plan? Potentially what's a project that they could do leading up to that, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to go spend these 3 days with these experts because look what I got done by myself in this amount of time in this workshop. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think, Sarah, there's something in that live event that people are like consistently blown away with or have questions around or um yeah, like something in your event that's already there. It's probably one of those experiences.
Yeah. This also might be a great place for a poll because money messaging is one of those things that you can say the same thing, but like frame it two different ways.
Yeah.
Like there's a big psychological difference between making an extra $200 versus saving $200, right? So a poll where you say, hey, what would be most helpful for you?
Hmm.
How to find 500 extra dollars in your budget this month? How to start a side hustle that makes $500? How to cut $500 from your monthly expenses? Or how to uh, dig up $500 from your future? And that might be like cutting out some of the like monthly expenses or whatever. And just kind of presenting a few different things and seeing what your audience responds to in a poll would be super helpful, I bet.
And the cool thing about polls in general is you have multiple wait lists there. So if someone says A and you end up doing option B, in the future, if you end up doing option A, you can go back to those people and say, hey, we're doing it now. Here's an opportunity for you to get an early bird ticket to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Anonymous says, can mini workshops be a longer product like a 5-day challenge, or does that change the whole point?
Yeah.
We have done 5-day challenges, 10-day challenges, 2-week challenges, 30-day challenges in our business. We keep coming back to live workshops because number one, they're way lighter for us. Show up once versus show up multiple days in a row. Number two, the business owner we want to serve probably like doesn't have time to show up every single day for 10 days. And number three, it forces us to really find like a specific quick win. And then the focus is on upgrading. Now,
Yeah.
if a challenge fits your business goals better, great, awesome. For us, it doesn't. We love mini workshops. We'll always love mini workshops. And they're, I think, uniquely special because you just have to get people to show up once. And they're just really focused, but challenges can be great too.
I mean, just ask yourself, if I said, hey, could you show up for 60 minutes one time this month for a workshop? Chances are you probably could. Okay, now can you show up 5 times 60 minutes? All of a sudden, most of us are like, no. And
Yeah.
so it's just again, if we say we love the forcing function of a live event, which we do, then like it has to be something that people can attend, which is a 1 hour, 2 hour session.
Yeah.
We had some people, like, even if you look at the actual recording of Mini Workshop Magic, it's like we had some people couldn't even stay the whole time because life, and that's totally
Yeah.
fair. So it's like we want to make sure it's as short as and condensed as possible.
Yep. Anonymous says, ideas on how to sell mini workshops to webinar attendees who didn't buy the main offer from the webinar. Our main product is an 8-week photography course for entrepreneurs to get high quality social media photos. Awesome. So it sounds like you'd be using the workshop a little bit more as a downsell. It's not so much an entry point into your work or an entry point into your offer. It's, hey, we've paid for these webinar attendees to be there. If they didn't buy the high ticket thing, can we recapture some of the money in a workshop? So it's a different goal than many people, but you absolutely can use it this way. You want to pull out like the sexiest, flashiest, like one nugget thing that you can, turn that into because it shouldn't be like totally different from the photography course. No. You've already planted tons of seeds for this idea of getting high quality social media photos. Don't pivot to like a new topic. The positioning will be, hey, maybe you didn't need 8 weeks of support. Maybe you didn't need these bonus video modules. Maybe you didn't need us to do these pieces for you. But what if you could just get this stock photography starter kit? What if you could just get stunning photos from iPhones? Like whatever the like just this gold nugget, I would sell that. And then because again, it seems like cash flow would be the main goal here, just like recouping as much cost as possible from this webinar funnel. I would for sure have like a bump and an upsell that's like more templates or more photo examples or resource lists or film kits or like whatever additional like edit in an hour guide. I'm not sure. Christian says, hi, Sarah and Justin. Do you have a particular approach you recommend to do audience building prior to launching a mini workshop? And are there specific audience building prerequisites? So the big giant caveat here is we're not audience building experts. It's not really something that we teach. And so in most cases, I would say, hey, if you're wanting to do a sprint and like re-engage your audience or get some fresh eyeballs into your audience, I would say like whatever platform you're most active on and like wanting to expand your audience on, go find an awesome workshop or masterclass or course or method that you can follow, because that's probably going to be the most helpful thing. than anything we can tell you. But what I will say is you're going to want to tell consistent stories about the thing you're planning to do the workshop about. So if your workshop is about how to get a remote job so you can travel the world, for 30 days, you are going to want to tell stories about you traveling the world, all of the ripple effects in your life that have happened because you got a remote job that you can now work from anywhere. You're going to want to every single day share a photo of you from Bali, from the Netherlands, from Sydney, Australia, from Johannesburg, like a photo of your desk setup. Oh, a photo of a thing you were able to go on this cool excursion during the day. Like, hey, here are the 5 software tools I use to like easily stay organized with my remote job. Hey, when I first got my remote job, this was like the job search parameters I use. Like, you're just going to want to tell tons of micro stories. So you have people being like, this is awesome. How did you do that? Wait, okay, I'm in this field. Does it work for me? You're going to want to like reverse engineer generating those types of questions. It's because we think about it like we're building up demand. You're building up tension and then you're releasing that tension with an offer. You're building up tension, you're releasing that tension with an offer. So what stories can you share that are going to get people excited about like, wait, how did Christian do that? Wait, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Wait, that sounds so awesome. If you join Ticket to Freedom, we're doing a workshop about that
Literally.
soon. Yeah, there's resources in Ticket to Freedom on that. But as far as audience building on a specific platform, that's not our expertise.
Okay, we got 2 final questions.
Okay. Maya says, how long is your average runway time between ITAP post and live workshop? Also, how long do you give your ITAP post time to circulate before you decide it's time to pivot to another idea? So typically
Yep.
we're going to give that pre-sell content, whether it's an ITAP on social media or an email or personal messages, we're going to give those 24 hours to percolate before making any big decisions. As far as runway, I would say like 3 or 4 days of like figuring out your workshop topic and goal, then posting your ITAP, then engaging with those people. Oh my gosh, awesome. I'm going to run with this workshop. I'll circle back to you once the details are finalized. Then kind of like picking the date and the time. And so those are happening first. We kind of see those as like prep work for the launch where you're like choosing the topic, setting the price, pre-selling, making sure people want it. Then we typically go into a 7 to 10 day promo window. So like once that all has happened, which for us at this point usually is just 1 day. But if it's your first time picking a topic, if it's your first time writing an ITAP, it might be 2, 3, 4 days. But once that happens, then at minimum of 7 days of promotion. So promote, 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 invite, 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 and host the workshop on like day 7 or 8. Sometimes because of our schedule, we're not actually hosting the workshop till 10 days later or 12 days later. And then we just keep promoting for that whole time, obviously. We've done longer launches, but that's our preferred rhythm.
Yeah, once someone's raised their hand, they're like, I want that. Like, we want to capture their excitement
Yeah.
as quickly as possible.
Yep. And remember, you can like respond to those comments before you have all the details figured out. Sometimes people will be like, well, I'm like stressing out about, I have to finish my checkout page and I've been up till midnight finishing my checkout page because people responded to my ITAP 3 days ago and I still haven't been able to send them the checkout page. It's like, well, you can just message them and say, cool, I'm doing this. I'm going to send you an invite as soon as it's ready. Got to pull a few things together. Like you can talk to people before all of the details are ironed out. All right. Robin says, how do you recommend approaching founders of Facebook groups that are made up of my perfect audience to partner with them and offer their members access to my masterclass or my workshop with a discount and have them as an affiliate partner? I mean, we have a whole process around this inside Instant Audience Magic, which is in Ticket to Freedom as a bonus, as a pay in full bonus. But the short answer is people are selfish. And so it has to be promoted through the lens of it makes their life easier and they get a win from it, especially if they're cold. Like most of our best partnerships have come from people that we know, from just like either being in community with people who own similar businesses to us, which you probably are in community with people in your niche or your industry. And from like engaging with people, like following their content, being in their group, like coming to their live streams and then making in, some type of message. But if it's fairly cold, where you don't have a big existing resource, being really straightforward. So not like trying to dance around it and like trick them into something,
Mhm.
but also not being like, this would be so great for me if you did this. I'm trying to get this workshop out there and like I really need to like find more buyers, but really presenting it through the lens of, hey, notice you have an awesome community full of this. I have a resource on this. It should be a resource they don't have. It shouldn't be like a competing offer to theirs. I have a resource on this. I see people ask about it in your Facebook group all the time. Want to hop on live and I can share how I do this? Uh, Obviously would be like happy if we end up mentioning any of my resources, would be happy to give you an affiliate link so you can like get these questions answered for people in your community and like make some good money at the same time. That's kind of like the message that I would send. I would always send it as a voice message personally, under 60 seconds. Hopefully not as like the very first time we've ever interacted. Yeah. Anyone who does cold pitching for this is going to tell you this is a numbers game. Like, don't send one message and then be like, what? The one person I asked didn't do this? Like, everyone's busy. You have no idea what their reasons are for having this Facebook group, what their plans are, if they do affiliate stuff or not. Um, but I guess my next thing is don't look for someone with an audience 10 times as big as yours. So, like, when I started doing this, I wasn't going, and I had 200 people on my email list and 200 people in my Facebook group. I wasn't going to people who had 50,000 people in their Facebook group. I was going to people who had, 300, 500, 1,000, who were like one step ahead of where I was at.
Yeah.
Um, and it made it way easier for it to be a win-win because the people who were 10 times, 50 times bigger than me, like they're getting pitched so much and I don't have as much to offer them.
There we go. Thanks,
There
everyone.
we go. Go get your workshops launched. I encourage you, if you have any hanging questions, don't let them keep you from putting it out there. You will get way more results from just launching a workshop and having a few hiccups along the way or things that you could optimize in the future than you will spending 3 months trying to launch the perfect workshop. Part of launching new things, part of being a business owner is doing things for the first time, figuring things out, and deciding how they fit into your own definition of business and freedom and how you want to show up for your audience. So you have that permission slip. Go make this work for you. Go try it. Go put it in the field, put it into action, and keep us posted on how your workshop launches go. And all of you who are on live, thank you for
Yeah,
helping
we
us
appreciate you guys
record
for showing up.
an awesome Q&A session.
I dropped a link there as well for Ticket Freedom if you haven't hopped in. Love to see you inside. That will be available to when, Sarah? Tuesday?
Till Tuesday. And this Q&A recording will be uploaded to the product as well, but probably not till early next week.
Yeah.
So it'll be a few days before this goes out, but it will be going out.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
You guys are
Bye,
awesome.
everyone.